Although the Tupolev Tu-22 was the world's first jet bomber capable of supersonic speed, it was not as well known as its cousin, the Tu-22M. The Tu-22M is so famous that many people forget that the Tu-22 and Tu-22M are two aircraft, with almost completely different designs. The Tu-22, also known as the Blinder, was developed in the late 1950s, and officially entered service in the early 1960s, to provide a powerful punch to the Soviet Air Force. At the time of its birth, the Tu-22 became the first supersonic bomber of the Soviet Union. Despite its impressive appearance and application of ahead-of-time technologies, the Tu-22 did not live up to expectations, and served only in medium combat, and the production number did not exceed 311 units. The Tu-22 was born with the expectation to replace the Tupolev Tu-16, which was only capable of reaching subsonic speeds. The Soviet authorities were looking for a supersonic solution, capable of powerful air defense penetration and with a payload comparable to the Tu-16. The technology eventually allowed for better aerodynamics and improved engine power, leading to the Tu-22. Its first flight was on September 7, 1959, and officially entered service with the Soviet Air Force around 1962. The Tu-22 has a low middle-mounted wing swept at an angle of 55 degrees. The two large turbojet engines, originally 159 kN Dobrynin VD7M, later 162 kN Kolosov RD7M2, are mounted atop the rear fuselage on either side of the large vertical stabilizer, with a low-mounted tailplane. The highly swept wings gave little drag at transonic speeds, but resulted in very high landing speeds and a long takeoff run. The Tu-22's cockpit placed the pilot forward, offset slightly to the left, with the weapons officer behind and the navigator below, within the fuselage, sitting on downwards firing ejector seats. Air for the crew was provided by a bleed air system on the engine compressors. This air was hot, and had to be cooled before being pumped into the cockpit. The Tu-22's defensive armament, operated by the weapons officer, consisted of a remotely controlled tail turret beneath the engine pods, containing a single 23mm R-23 gun. The turret was directed by a small PRS-3A argon gun-laying radar due to the weapons officer's total lack of rear visibility. The bomber's main weapon load was carried in a fuselage bomb bay between the wings, capable of carrying a variety of free-fall weapons, up to 24 FAB-500 general-purpose bombs, one 20,000-pound FAB-9000 bomb, or various nuclear bombs. On the Tu-22K, the bay was reconfigured to carry one Raduga Kh-22 missile semi-recessed beneath the fuselage. The enormous weapon was big enough to have a substantial effect on handling and performance, and was also a safety hazard. Tu-22 could reach a maximum speed of 1,510 km per hour, equivalent to Mach 1.42, the range is 4,900 km, the service ceiling is 13,300 meters, and the rate of climb is 12.7 meters per second. The aircraft was a disappointment, lacking both the speed and range that had been expected. It was also a difficult design to fly and maintain. It was produced in small numbers, especially compared to the Tupolev Tu-16 it was designed to replace. The aircraft was later adapted for other roles, notably as the Tu-22 are reconnaissance aircraft and as carriers for the long-range Kh-22 anti-ship missile. Tu-22s were sold to other nations, including Libya and Iraq. The Tu-22 was one of the few Soviet jet bombers to see combat. Libyan Tu-22s were used against Tanzania and Chad, and Iraqi Tu-22s were used during the Iran-Iraq War.